What if, instead of asking, why did this happen to me, we asked, what can I learn from fear of failure is one of the most paralyzing emotions we face as human beings. It stops dreams before they even begin. It whispers doubt in our ears just when we're about to take our first step. But let me tell you something profound. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. It's not a roadblock. It's a redirect. Every person you've ever admired, every success story you've ever heard, every innovator, athlete, entrepreneur, or artist, at one point, they failed. Some of them failed miserably. But what separates them from the rest isn't that they didn't fall. It's that they got back up. Let's rewind to one of the most famous examples in the history of human innovation, Thomas Edison. Edison failed over 1,000 times before he successfully invented the light bulb. When asked how it felt to fail so many times, he replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Think about that mindset. Edison didn't fear failure. He embraced it because each failure brought him one step closer to success. And that's the mindset we need to cultivate. Failure is feedback. It's the universe showing you what doesn't work, nudging you to try again, smarter this time. Yet, most people allow the fear of failing to dictate their lives. They play small. They don't apply for that job. They don't start that business. They don't ask for that opportunity. Why? Because they're afraid of being rejected, laughed at, or falling short. But what they don't realize is that the only true failure is not trying at all. Now let's talk about real life. Take Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. But he didn't let that failure define him. Instead, he used it to fuel his ambition. He practiced harder, trained smarter, and came back stronger. The rest is history. He once said, "I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." You see the pattern? The fear of failure often comes from the pressure to be perfect. Society teaches us to aim for perfection, to never make mistakes, to always get it right the first time. But perfection is a myth. It's a cage we lock ourselves in. Real growth happens when we're vulnerable enough to take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them. If you're not failing, you're not stretching. You're not growing. You're not daring to be great. Let's look at the startup world. The tech industry is full of stories of people who failed their way to the top. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, Apple, the company he co-founded. That could have crushed him. But instead, he launched Next and bought Pixar, eventually returning to Apple and revolutionizing the world. His failure didn't end his career. It shaped it. It made him stronger, more resilient, more innovative. Closer to home, think about students who fail exams or professionals who lose jobs. We've all been there in one form or another. Maybe you failed to get that promotion. Maybe your first business didn't work out. Hi there. Let me know if you need support. Maybe your relationship ended and you saw it as a personal failure. But what if you stopped calling these moments failures and started calling them lessons? When I was younger, I remember applying for a job I really wanted. I was confident, prepared, and gave it everything I had, but I didn't get it. I was devastated. For days, I doubted myself. But then, I got feedback from the interviewer. It turned out I had some gaps in my presentation skills. So, I enrolled in a public speaking course, joined Toastmasters, and worked tirelessly on that weakness. A year later, I got a better job, one that I never would have qualified for had I not failed the first time and learned from it. You see, failure humbles you. It grounds you. It forces you to look inward and grow. And most importantly, it builds resilience. Resilience is the ability to keep going when things get tough. And in life, that's not just valuable, it's essential. But here's the key. You have to reframe your mindset. Instead of seeing failure as a final verdict, see it as a stepping stone. Each time you fall, you're getting closer to the version of yourself who wins. Each rejection, each no, each disappointment is training you, molding you, shaping your story. Let me ask you something. Right here, right now, what would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? Would you write that book? Start that business? Would you finally speak up, step up, show up? You see, the tragedy isn't in failing. The tragedy is in never trying. It's living a life full of what ifs instead of I tried. And you know what? I'd rather fail 1,000 times chasing something I believe in than succeed at something that doesn't light my soul on fire. Now let's get real for a second. Fear of failure? It's not about failure itself. It's about judgment. It's about what people will say. It's about your parents' expectations. It's about your friends watching from the sidelines. It's about that voice in your head whispering, "You're not good enough." But let me tell you the truth about that voice. It's a liar. It lies to protect you. It wants to keep you comfortable. But comfort is not where growth lives. Comfort zones? They're beautiful, but nothing ever grows there. You have to step out of it into the unknown, into the uncertain, into the space where, yes, you might fail, but you also might fly. Let me take you to a real-life moment, one that changed my perspective forever. I met a young man at a seminar who told me his story. He had dropped out of university after failing twice. His family called him a disgrace. His friends disappeared. Everyone gave up on him, except him. He started working nights as a janitor. But every night, while others slept, he studied. He built his knowledge, brick by brick, fail by fail, year by year. Fast forward 5 years. That same young man now runs his own digital marketing agency, employs over 30 people, and lectures at the same university he once failed in. Why? Because he refused to let failure write his ending. That's what I want you to understand today. Failure is not the end of the book. It's just a plot twist. It adds depth to your story. It makes your victory sweeter. And yes, you will have days when nothing works. It's just a plot twist. It adds depth to your story. It makes your victory sweeter. And yes, you will have days when nothing works. When doors shut. When people walk away. But those are the days that test your spirit. Those are the moments that separate the dreamers from the doers. You want a secret? Listen closely. The most successful people in the world don't fear failure. They study it. They use it. They run straight at it. Because they know that behind every failure is a lesson, a breakthrough, a hidden key to the next level. Take Oprah Winfrey. She was told she was unfit for TV, fired from her job. Imagine if she had believed that. The world would have lost one of its greatest voices. Or Rowling, rejected by 12 publishers before someone took a chance on Harry Potter. 12 times they told her no. But the 13th changed her life, and millions of ours. So I say this to you, from the stage of experience and the fire of my own setbacks. Every no you hear, every door slammed in your face, every stumble, every fall, it's preparing you, shaping you, toughening your skin, and sharpening your focus. You cannot fear failure. You must welcome it. Invite it to the table. Because if you're failing, it means you're trying. It means you're in the arena, getting bruised, getting dirty, but also getting better. And those who sit on the sidelines mocking from the shadows, they don't count. They don't know what it takes. Only those who fall and rise again understand the real meaning of growth. Let me tell you about a dear friend of mine, a woman who'd built a clothing brand from scratch. Her first collection flopped. No sales, negative feedback. Heartbroken she thought of quitting. But something inside said, try again, better this time. She listened. She redesigned, rebranded, relaunched. Today, her brand is worn by celebrities. And do you know what she says whenever someone asks her the secret? She smiles and says, "My first failure taught me how to succeed." Now I want you to reflect for a moment. Think back to a time you failed, a time you were embarrassed, a time you wanted to give up. Got it? Now think about who you became because of it. Stronger? Wiser? More focused? Exactly. That's the gift of failure. It refines you. It teaches you things success never can. And I promise you this, when you finally achieve what you've been fighting for, it won't be the easy days that make you proud. It'll be the struggle, the sacrifice, the setbacks that almost broke you, but didn't. I want you to imagine something with me. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a cliff. Behind you is everything familiar: comfort, routine, safety. Ahead of you is everything you've ever wanted: your dreams, your purpose, the version of yourself you were meant to become. And in between, that's the leap. That's where fear lives. That's where failure might happen. But listen to me, and I want you to feel this. Every person who ever became great had to make that leap. They had to risk falling. And many of them did. They hit the ground. They broke bones, metaphorically, emotionally, spiritually. But then, they stood up again, stronger, clearer, more certain of who they were. Do you know who never made it to their dreams? The ones who never jumped. So I ask you, what's stopping you? Are you afraid of failing a test? Are you afraid your business won't work? Are you afraid they'll laugh at you, leave you, doubt you? Let me tell you something raw. They're already doubting you. So prove them wrong. Or better yet, prove yourself right. There was a time when I let fear hold me hostage too. I played small. I silenced my voice. I passed on opportunities. And do you know what I learned? Regret hurts worse than failure. Regret sticks. It whispers in the quiet moments. You should have tried. You were meant for more. But once I failed, publicly, painfully, I realized something. The world didn't end. In fact, that's when my real life started. Because from that moment on, I wasn't afraid anymore. I had nothing to prove. Only something to build. And you have something to build too. Whether it's a dream, a business, a life on your own terms, whatever it is, it's waiting for you on the other side of fear. You just have to walk through it. I want you to hear this loud and clear. You will fail. That's not a threat. It's a promise. But that's not the point. The point is what you do next. Do you stay down or do you rise? Because failure is not final. It's feedback. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want it? And if your answer is bad enough to fall and get back up, then you've already won. Because most people never even try. But you're different. You're here because deep down, you know you're capable of more. Because most people never even try. But you're different. You're here because deep down, you know you're capable of more. And that knowing, that's your superpower. Think about Thomas Edison. 10,000 failed prototypes before he gave the world the light bulb. He said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Or Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team. Can you imagine if he quit? The greatest basketball player in history would have been just a footnote. But he didn't quit. He used the pain. That's what failure does. It humbles you. It molds you. And if you let it, it fuels you. I'm not just giving you a speech today. I'm handing you a torch. Torch to carry through your darkest moments. A reminder that when things fall apart, it's not over. It's just the beginning of a better chapter. Because those who dare to fail greatly often achieve greatly. The road will be, people will doubt you. Sometimes you will doubt you. But let that be your signal, not to stop, but to push harder. Because after the storm comes clarity. After the fall comes the rise. And after failure comes freedom. So I ask you today, as you walk out of here, don't run from failure. Don't avoid it. Don't try to outsmart it. Instead, face it, embrace it, learn from it. When you fall, fall forward. When you fail, fail loud. Fail in pursuit of something that matters. And above all, don't ever let fear of failure rob you of the life you were born to live. Because at the end of this journey, it won't be the failures that haunt you. It'll be the chances you didn't take. So take them. Jump. Fall. Rise. Repeat. And never, ever stop moving toward the future that's calling your name. Thank you. And never, ever stop moving toward the future that's calling your name. Thank you.